With the Arnold Classic just a few weeks away, we are super excited about the return of this prestigious competition. So today we're bringing you 20 facts about the 2022 contest.
So before we get stuck in, I just want to very quickly credit Elo Fournier, who runs the Strongman archives. He is a data mining strongman factoid machine and a real history keeper of strongman archives and facts and data and stats in general. So go check out the website for all of your strongman data needs.
So this year we're guaranteed a new champion, as it's the first time since 2009 we've had no previous winners in this contest. The 2009 contest was won, of course, by Derek Poundstone, but the only previous winners before then were Mark Henry and Zydrunas Savickas. Both were not in that contest.
Congratulations for being the world's most powerful man. What does it feel like?
You know, who would have thought one of the lightest guys in the competition, on this competition, in the heaviest competition in the world, would come away with a win, you know?
This year's Arnold's lineup looks a bit different to previous years, with 5 rookies in the competition, the most amount of rookies we've had since 2005. And those athletes are Luke Stoltman, Tom Stoltman, Evgeny Markov, Maxime Boudreault, and Trey Mitchell.
It's amazing to think some of those guys have not competed this show, particularly the likes of the Stoltmans, who've had such a good few years.
Yeah.
But obviously no Arnolds for a few years, so...
No Arnolds for 1 year.
Well, yeah.
It's felt like a long time.
Yeah, it has felt like a long time.
It's okay, it's back now.
One of the favourites for this year's contest is Mateusz Kieliszkowski, who's done exceptionally well every time he's competed at the Arnolds. Back in 2015, he was the youngest ever podium finisher of the Arnold Strongman Classic at just 21 years of age. Can he go on to finally win it this year?
And speaking of Mateusz, out of the guys competing, he has the most appearances at the Arnold Strongman Classic. This will be his 7th appearance. Now, Hafthor Bjornsson, he won his first Arnold Strongman Classic the 7th time he competed. So if Mateusz wins this year, he will tie that record with Thor for the most appearances before winning the show.
Oleksii Novikov is the 2020 World Strongest Man winner, but so far he's never managed to finish on the podium at the Arnold Classic. His best performance so far back in 2020, where he finished in 5th place. Can he step it up this year and get on the podium?
Now, if Oleksii does win this year, he will be the youngest champion ever, aged 26 years and 23 days. The current youngest is Derek Poundstone when he won in 2009, aged 27 years and 161 days.
Poundstone was a beast.
He was, and I don't remember him being that young. He's always looked about 34.
So if we're talking youngest, we have to go oldest as well. Out of this year's competitors, if JF Caron was to win, aged 39 years and 250 days, he'd be the 2nd oldest winner of all time, behind Zydrunas, who won the contest at 40 years of age and 235 days back in 2016. Zydrunas is currently the oldest guy to win World's Strongest Man and the Arnolds.
He is. There are 3 American strongmen competing in this year's competition: Trey Mitchell, Martins Licis, and Rob Kearney. Now, if one of them makes it onto the podium, then this will be the 14th consecutive year where at least one American has been on the Arnold Strongman Classic podium.
I can definitely see Americans getting on the podium as well.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
So for the first time ever at the Arnold Classic, we have a max squat this year. And in the 20-year history, this is the first time we are not seeing a deadlift.
Russian athlete Evgeny Markov qualified for this competition by winning the 2020 Amateur Arnolds. Now, there's only one athlete who has ever won the Amateur Arnolds and eventually gone on to win the Arnold Strongman Classic, and that is Mike Jenkins. However, that could quickly change because, as well as Evgeny, we also have 2 previous Amateur Arnolds winners in the form of Oleksii Novikov and Mateusz Kieliszkowski.
So we mentioned that we've got 5 rookies competing in this contest, and in the 20-year history we've only ever seen 3 guys manage to win the Arnolds on their first appearance. Those are Mark Henry back in 2002, obviously the first ever. In 2003, Zydrunas Savickas, and then again in 2013, his countryman Mateusz Shahlaei taking the victory.
Keep a close eye on who is leading after day 1, because for the last 5 years, the leader after the first 2 events has eventually gone on to win the overall competition.
The most dominant performance ever at the Arnolds was by Brian Shaw back in 2017, where out of a total of 50 points, he took 47.5. Absolutely incredible performance. Can anyone do better than that this year? No.
Can anyone come close, I think is a more appropriate question.
Yeah.
Brian, what does it feel like to win and to win and to win again?
Well, this is the third one here in Ohio, and it feels really good.
The timber carry is going to be a really interesting event this year, I feel. Half of the field have never done this event. Now, out of the guys who have done it, by far the best in 7 seconds, which is the event record, was Mateusz Kieliszkowski in 2020. The guy who comes second behind Mateusz is Martins Licis, who did it in 17.37 seconds in that same competition, which is quite the gap.
That's a very dominant performance there by Kieliszkowski. Though Uncle Oz did it in 7.9 seconds.
Do you want to compete? Do you want to go? You want to do the timber carry?
I wish I could.
Do a rogue record breaker?
I'd break.
Rogue Lozzie breaker.
The most dominant athlete ever at the Arnolds is Zydrunas Savickas, winning the contest an incredible 8 times. And with no previous champions in the contest, I think it's a record that might never get broken.
I am very happy. It was very heavy weight.
Now, speaking of dominating, the most event wins out of any athlete in all of their years competing in the Arnold Strongman Classic is also Zydrunas, who in his time has won 29 events at the Arnold Strongman Classic. In 4th place on that list, though, is Mateusz Kieliszkowski with 7 event wins at this competition. And honestly, out of the guys who have also competed there, no one else even comes close.
The biggest comeback we've seen at the Arnolds was in 2009, where Derek Pounceville was 6 points behind the leader and eventually clawed his way back to take the victory.
Now, the largest margin of victory ever was in 2008 when Zydrunas won, leading 2nd place by 9 points.
And the smallest margin of victory was by Vitaitas Lalas in 2013, edging out Brian Shaw by just half a point.
So there we go, 20 interesting facts that you may or may not have known.
I hope you guys enjoyed them. As always, comment, like the channel,
Do your thing.
and we'll be back with lots more strength action soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.